Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to Streaming Saturday. Can you hear me okay? Can everybody hear me? Let me know over in the comments if you can hear me. Hello. Hey, Barry. Alonzo, Curtis, Brett, Terry. Looks like everybody can hear me. That's awesome. Las Vegas Vocalist. Everybody, what's going on? I know stream's a little later in the day than it usually is. I'm trying to pull it up, trying to pull my live stream up here on another device, but well, we're just gonna roll with it. I can see the comments, but I don't know how many people are in here, but enough to get started. So I want to say thank you to everyone who is here. We are going to open it up for a Q&A here in a little bit. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, man, I should have got the anti-reflective on my new glasses. My wife was like, you should get the anti-reflective stuff on the new glasses, and I'll just adjust the lighting and the seats, and it'll probably be all right. So if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you saw me post a picture of my newest Synology unit. I called it the Synology Mini. It is a whopping 8 gigabytes. It's an ultra portable Synology unit, and in the picture it looks huge. It looks huge, but it's actually in this box right here. So Synology sent me this when they sent me the DS918 Pluses, so we can do all the high availability videos and all that. And what this is this is actually a USB keychain. So while the pictures looked huge, this is actually the unit, and it is a keychain, but it is also a USB drive. So, but when you take pictures of it, it looks like a Synology unit all lit up and ready to go. They probably paid a fortune for these things, because they would have had to have modeled this Nathan, no, it's probably Synology Hybrid RAID. But they would have had to somehow either taken their CAD drawings and shrunk it, or sent it a unit to the the manufacturer of these devices. Somehow they had to get, and it is only 8 gigs. It says there's Synology on the actual thumb drive piece. I thought it was just a keychain when I opened it, and then I was like, huh, that piece looks like it comes out. Well, if you break it, I guess you broke it. And nope, there it comes. Oh, it makes that cool noise, like the old pop guns. Remember those? Here, let's see if we can. I don't know if that came through there or not, but so yeah, so that is my new 8 gigabyte ultra portable Synology unit. But no, it is definitely not in RAID. It is a single disk, so failure could be imminent at any time. All right, so Terry Johnson asks, when you get a chance, what were the problems with the MikroTik 60 gigahertz? So let me start out by saying that the MikroTik 60 gigahertz is a fantastic fantastic product. And given the right environmental setup, you are going to get fantastic speeds out of that. However, I had a couple of issues going against me. I was trying to shoot through, and I didn't know this until I started getting things set up. But on the inside of my garage, under the wood, and then between the outside, there's actually a layer of copper sheeting. And I could not get the 60 gigahertz to negotiate a connection through there. I've got 5 gigahertz going through there, okay. But the metal that was in the side of the garage, it absolutely killed the 60 gigahertz. So that's what happened with that. I have a surprise for you guys in May, hopefully. So there'll be an update on the garage network around May. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It will be a fantastic announcement. Also, if you are interested in security-related items, whether it's network security, whether it's physical security, I will be at Wild West Hackin' Fest in October. I've got to talk to Nathan because I had to make some choices with scheduling and things like that. And we were talking about maybe trying to meet at the big security expo in Vegas. But the way that my schedule and everything worked out, I had to choose one in October. So plane tickets, hotel, conference tickets for Wild West Hackin' Fest, they are booked. I am going to, right now they have an open call for papers. So I am going to be submitting a paper, and then they have training if you've never done an actual like security white paper. So I'm going to try to take them up on that. I have, I think, until the end of May to get my paper in, so I've got to get my butt in gear and get all that done. So, all right, Jose says, Willie, ever have an issue with a Grandstream GXP phone not accepting ringtone changes? Have a GXP 2130 accepting changes. All GXP 2135s are not taking ringtone changes. Jose, the first thing that I would do is I would go ahead and I would make sure that you are running the latest firmware and see if that, solves your issues. Also, do you have those set up for zero config? If you do you have templates and policies and things like that applied that could be overriding any changes you're making on the local phone? So yeah, so the Klein tool, I like it, but if you noticed so we're talking about the pass-through, the RJ45 through pass-through tool. I do like it, but I think I gotta go back. I gotta go back to the Ideal, just because the Ideal works so good. But the Klein is great, and I'm hoping to have a former relationship with Klein and get some of their other tools in here and see kind of what that's all about. Oh, there's Mike. Mike is down in Mexico right now. Mike is a friend and a client, and Mike is down there. Mike, what's the weather like down there right now? So it's probably what, high 70s, maybe 80s, because it's like 70 something here. So. All right, 3DX says, what's the best way to connect a Ubiquiti USG Pro to a unified switch? Ethernet or fiber? What are the benefits? So no matter what you do with a USG Pro, you're going to be limited to 1 gigabit on your connection between the router and the switch. Just do copper. Unless you're hurting for copper ports, then go SFP to SFP. But I think they did change it in a firmware where you could use the SFP ports for LAN ports. Used to be those were only WAN ports, but yeah. So Mike's making us all jealous. It's currently 84 down on the beach in Mexico. Alonzo, I have Verizon Fios 1 gig service. Currently have Untangle UTM running on a Dell PC. I'm looking to upgrade to a Ubiquiti Edge router. Why would you consider? I mean, let's talk about this. As much of a cheerleader and as a fanboy of Ubiquiti as I am, Alonzo, let's talk about this. What makes you think? And everybody else in the comments chime in. Alonzo, what makes you think that going from Untangle UTM to a Ubiquiti Edge router is an upgrade? Please put that in the comments. Let's talk through this. This is the type of decision that we have to help people make all the time as good stewards of your technology. And I wouldn't necessarily go with the ER Pro Bald Eagle. I'd probably go with the 4 or the 6. The 4 and the 6, they are beasts. The Pro is a great router, and you know we got them out there everywhere. But all right, so go ahead and put your questions through to the live chat there. Everybody will be able to see your questions. Going to answer some questions here for a little while. Looking around to see what else I can update you on. Here's something. So, you know, I've kind of partnered with Linksys. Let's see here. Oh, let's see. All right, Matthew says, "Hi, Willie. I have 2 UniFi Wi-Fi sites. I'm seeing a lot of DHCP failures. Are you seeing the same on your UniFi Wi-Fi sites?" No, Matthew, I'm not. So we would need to know, before we can help you troubleshoot that, we would need to know more about your setup. So like what your router is, what your switch is, how all that stuff is set up. Portland OR 2018, best mesh Wi-Fi brand for large home. Portland, how large is the home? So that's going to make a difference. All right, so coming in late April, early May, we are going to do a live stream, and I've been alluding to it, but there are going to be several giveaways during the live stream. Several. And so in the next 2 weeks, I'll have the date nailed down for that. And we'll schedule it as a live stream. We'll schedule it as the giveaways, all that good stuff. And we'll go from there. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to be given away. I've got vendors who are going to be sponsoring. They're not paying me. So when I say they're sponsoring the live stream, what that means is that they have given me gear to give away on the live stream. And I'm going to give one of these away. But first, I'm going to... I've got one of these for me. And then I've got one of these for a lucky winner that's going to get one of these. But this is a Linksys AC2600. And you do get, I think you get a year or maybe 2 years or 3 years of their cloud-based management with this. So, yeah, these access points, they're not slouches. So we're going to be taking a look at these here pretty soon. Let's see. All right, so back to the comments. 3,500 square feet. Well, the first thing that I would tell you to do is I would tell you to probably, for maximum reliability, if you can run Ethernet and put different access points in, that's going to be your best. That's going to be your best bet. If you've got to use mesh, you could look at an Amplify type setup. The HD, that's going to give you some pretty good coverage. But, yeah, you know, I would try to hardwire first. All right, Bald Eagle says, I've got about 2,000 Open Mesh APs deployed, and I would recommend them. So Datto did buy Open Mesh. But Open Mesh, when... Hold on. Eduardo was asked a question there. Hold on a second here. Let me go back and see if I can find that, because I wanted to answer that. So a few things scrolling by here quickly. Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. Let's see. I really want to get to your questions here. Why can I not see? Let's see here. Live streams. Ah, I can see that we are live now. All right, yeah, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Let me go back to the comments here. Oh, I can't see it on my phone. All right, so Eduardo, real quick, actually, you know what? I can do this. Hold on. Bear with me. Here we go. Now I'm going to be able to scroll back up. It's weird watching myself on there. All right, so yeah, so Portland, if you can hardwire those, that'd be the best. Somebody says they are a fan of UBNT looking for MikroTik for QoS VLAN config. If we compare MikroTik and UniFi, which one do you suggest or prefer? So that's a whole conversation we got to have about use case and what you're looking to do. Here's a good example for you. So the Edge router out of the box with the web interface does an awesome job of failover, right? So we can run the wizard and we can say I've got 2 internet connections and one is going to be dedicated all the time, but if this one goes down, fail over to this. And Ubiquiti, has built all of the mechanisms in to make that seamless to the end user, to make that, and that the configuration that goes on behind the scenes would take you way longer than the few seconds that it takes to walk through that wizard, and it works flawlessly, or it does before there's regression in the firmware, but then they fix it. We digress. On MikroTik, out of the box, you can do failover, but the way that it works out of the box is based on being able to reach the default gateway. So I can have 5 internet connections, and if I can't get to the default gateway of a WAN connection, then it'll fail over. Well, that's not always where your internet fails, right? Your internet may fail on the other side of the of the gateway for that WAN connection. Well, you can do it with MikroTik, but then you have to know MikroTik scripting. And so now you're going down the rabbit hole. So if you want failover, I just stick with the Edge router. So that's a whole other conversation. So I'm glad that you asked that. Please email me or fill out my contact form. Send me a bunch of the things that you're looking to do, and I will work on turning that into a video, the pros and cons and balancing and things like that. I know both of the systems well enough that I believe I can help you make an educated decision about that. A lot of people don't understand MikroTik. MikroTik is, all right, so there's a lot of networking people, and a lot of them are used to like DDWRT style, and I'm talking like in the Soho SMB world, right? So when they get challenged by something like MikroTik, they kind of freak out a little bit. And it can be, unless you've got the kind of personality where you can jump into something and just start learning, which is why I have all this stuff behind me. That's what I do. We learn it. We get in there, we tinker with it, we break it, we make it work. A lot of guys can't do that. A lot of guys, they get intimidated easily, and then they just say that stuff is garbage because they don't understand it. I personally wouldn't keep anything that is truly garbage in my lab, and I've got everything from MikroTik to Ubiquiti to Cisco to Extreme to Brocade to Dell. I've got all this stuff, SonicWall. And so they all have different applications for use. And so we really have to get to the root of what it is that you're trying to accomplish before we can tell you the best gear. So it's a crazy conversation, and it can take, depending on the complexity of what you want to do, it can take us a while to get to what might be that gear. Now, I will tell you, probably 95% of everybody that I work with, everybody that reaches out to me, kind of our bland out-of-the-box experience for most of this stuff will work for what you want to do. So it gets very easy, but once you get into like complicated networks and redundancy and all these other things, then the conversation changes, and that's when it can become a little bit more in-depth to get you where you need to go. All right, so let's see. Damien says 1 gig, Edge Router Lite, Edge Router 4, or USG. Damien, Ricard, ER4. No doubt about it. So yeah, so Datto did buy Open Mesh, but here's the thing about Open Mesh. So a lot of these companies like Ubiquiti, even Grandstream, they're doing mesh, right? They're doing it at the physical layer. They're doing mesh at the physical layer. So it is literally just like having Ethernet cables strung everywhere. When you get to a product like Open Mesh, it's the full stack. So not only is it the physical layer, so like having Ethernet cables strung everywhere else, but it's the routing and the protocols that actually make the network work. So with Open Mesh, what you can do is you can have 3 different points of internet on, let's say that you've got 10 access points and you've built this mesh. And into 3 of those, you have internet connections. The system is designed so that whichever one you are physically closer, well, maybe not physically closer to, but whatever the least cost path is for you to get out to the internet, that's how the Open Mesh system is going to route you out to the internet, right? So then let's say that one of those internet connections goes down. The Open Mesh system will actually take those clients and reroute them out another internet connection. There are very few vendors doing that, right? And they run, I believe they run on a protocol called Batman. But Ubiquiti's not doing that. GrandStream's not doing that. D-Link's not doing that. TP-Link's not doing that. Synology's not doing that. That whole stack thing from you know, from the rest of the vendors, that whole protocol stack of the Open Mesh routing, that's, look around, but there's not very many vendors doing it. So, but I'm not a huge fan of Open Mesh, just because I've some of the interactions that I've had with them. So I would be looking, personally, I would probably build an open source solution if I needed it and I had the time, that because some of those protocol stacks are open source, they're out there, we can use them. So, all right, so Eduardo asks, hey, Willie, will you put a video on a UniFi Video NVR build with Linux as the OS? So no. So here's where I'm at with UniFi Video and UniFi Protect. I am watching the UniFi Protect line. I'm watching as Ubiquiti matures that product line, and they're going to have to introduce other things into that line. But I'm not actively deploying it. I have it here, but all of my Ubiquiti cameras, my Axis camera, my Dahua cameras, they are all going on a Synology surveillance station. Now, when I do that, with the Ubiquiti cameras, I'll have to capture an RTSP stream only because they don't support ONVIF. But I am not deploying any new UniFi Video at the point where I'm at with security solutions. They do not provide near the feature set that is required in 2019. I am going to support what I have out there. I have a couple large installations out there, so they will be supported. But when it is time to change those systems out, they will not be Ubiquiti. They will likely be Dahua cameras or Axis cameras. And so there's going to be a lot more video surveillance videos coming. Let me show you something that I've got here on the shelf real quick. So I do have this Axis camera, and this is the one that I'm actually integrating with the audio bridge that you saw me give you an introduction to. I've also got the speaker. I bought all of this stuff out of my own pocket. So, but I am committing to Axis. If you haven't used their stuff, first of all, they invented IP cameras, and the things that they are doing with life safety, they're the leaders, and everybody else is following. So go out and check out Axis. If you want to see something really cool, check out the Axis high-end line that you can actually put Canon EF lenses on. So when you look at a Canon EF lens, something that goes on like a Rebel or some of the other bodies, you can actually take that and put those on Axis cameras, and they are crazy. But you're going to start seeing, we're going to do a lot of Axis videos, and Axis with Synology and Axis with some other NVR or VMS solutions. But no, Ubiquiti has, for me, has run its course, like I said, as far as video goes. I am watching Protect because I think they're going somewhere else, but I think they're going to have some logistical issues keeping it long-term and making it successful. I think that there will be hardcore Ubiquiti fans and fanboys and fangirls who deploy the UniFi Protect solution, but with the way that Ubiquiti is currently structured with their support and things like that, I just don't think it's going to be a viable option. This camera from Axis has a 3-year warranty. I get lifetime firmware updates, and then even after they end the life of product, they still get firmware updates. I can pick up the phone and call an engineer and get support, or I can get support on this. Like, I can get a live engineer on the phone. So, if I'm getting stuck, I've run into something that's kind of crazy, and for me to be able to get a hold of an engineer at Axis, that's huge, right? So yeah, so I paid. So this camera has no night vision. And for the applications that we're going to be using it for, it doesn't need night vision. This camera was delivered, $339 is how much this camera cost me. But that $339 for the things that I can do with this camera, plus the support that I get, plus the warranty, it's worth every penny. Absolutely every penny. And you're going to see that when we start doing the videos. So I've got some really cool things coming out with that. All right, so no, I will not be doing any new UniFi videos unless there's something that I need to create for people to keep supporting their units that are out there. All right, somebody says, Synapse says, I run an OpenVPN server on my Soho Asus router for years with Merlin firmware. I've never messed with the Merlin firmware, but I've heard it's fantastic. Though with paid speeds of 150 up and 150 down, I've only gotten 20 from it. Okay. I bought an EdgeMax ER4 and have been considering L2TP over IPsec. It is very difficult to set up for a Road Warrior. No, it is not, Synapse. I have a video on that. I actually need to update that video, bring it into 2019. But if you go back through my Edge Router videos, you will see a video on how to set up that L2TP over IPsec. Now, the Edge Router can offload IPsec, so it has hardware offload. So the performance of IPsec on an Edge Router is fantastic. All right, Wiz says, to limit WAN upload speed but not download speed on ERPoE. However, the router seems to completely disable. I'm not sure where I'm at in that conversation, but you can do... you can set up QoS on the Edge router to have different download and upload speeds. Let's see, where else are we at here? All right, I want to thank everybody again for being with us here. Let's see, what is the most cost-effective IP PBX to deploy for a client? In my opinion, the most cost-effective IP PBX today, hands down, is the Grandstream UCM series, followed by the Yaystar. The Grandstream is intuitive. I have people who know nothing about phone systems who can log in and with little instruction from me, just because they understand that the phone rings and they answer it and they understand voicemail and these same terms that we're using all over the place. They can almost manage this phone system wholly without me after we get it set up. And then once we do training, then they take it and it takes on a whole other life of its own. So in my opinion, the Grandstream UCM is the most cost-effective IP PBX. And you can email me and we can talk about that. Call asks, any catches, tips on site-to-site VPN on same cloud controller? Both have NAT from telcos. Yeah, it's not going to work. For UniFi, you're going to have to do, and I might do a video on that, but yeah, it is not, the IPsec is not going to work in that case. Edwin. Oh yeah, Edwin, no problem, man. No problem. I love helping you guys. I love it when you engage with me. It's fantastic. It's awesome to have a community out there that appreciates what you do. Barry, there are several wireless survey softwares out there, and NetSpot is a good one. Also, if you're doing it from your phone, so if you want to do a wireless survey from your phone, depending on what you want to do. Now, as far as I know, you can't load floor maps in here yet. But if you want to check out kind of the air that's around you, check out Wi-Fi Man by Ubiquity Networks. I posted a picture on Twitter and Instagram when we were at Old Chicago in Peoria, Illinois. They use Ubiquity access points, and people wanted to know what software that I was posting the screenshot of, and that is indeed Wi-Fi Man. Yeah, and Barry's right. Router OS is very, very powerful. Sister-in-law GP Raceman. Sister-in-law needs a new network for 150 download, 10 upload service. Where the ERX to an AC light be solid enough, or go with the USG US8. Yeah, the ERX for 150 down, 10 up. With an AC light or an AC Pro should be enough. The AC light, I think you're going to be able to power still off of the Edge Router X, so you could go with that and you'd have one nice little package. But yeah, 150 down, 10 up, that Edge Router X is going to do you just fine. Bald Eagle says, I owned a company called AWD Mesh back around 2010. We politely asked Open Mesh for their code and modified it for our dual radio APs back then. We tested them out in Afghan for the U.S. military. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff that Open Mesh does, they've open sourced it, or they used open source tools. Silas, the Shed video updates will be coming late April, early May. Hang in there with me. Alonzo says, I use Hikvision and MileSight IP cameras connecting to an Asus Store NAS app for home security. If it's working for you, that's great. I don't use Hikvision cameras. I never really did. I know somebody who has a Hikvision like door station, so I'm going to be able to check that out, but I'm probably not going to deploy any Hikvision. And I've never heard of MileSight, so I'd be interested in looking at them. I wonder if they're just, if Hikvision or Dahua OEMs for MileSight. Yeah, access IP cameras for work. Never heard of Pelco, Bald Eagle, but I would I wouldn't say no to looking at them. So Alonzo says, do you use the Axis Companion software? So funny story about that. We have deployed a single Axis Companion system. Now, Axis Companion, if you've ever used the Axis VMS software, the full-blown, and then you've used the Companion is a lot different than any other VMS. And it's really weird because for each camera, it creates a network share for each camera, and you tell it how big of a share of the hard drive that it gets. It's really different. It's really easy, and I will tell you that the Companion cameras that we've got deployed, they're fantastic. The image is it's super sharp, super crisp. But it took us a little bit to learn how to get that software deployed because it is different. Terry says, I'm kind of screwed there. Just deployed a 100 camera Unify video setup right before Protect was announced. Yeah, so yeah, I deployed a 90 plus system a couple years ago, and I've told them that, look, when these cameras are at the end of their useful life, we're going Dahua, or we're going or we're going to go Axis, but then we'll throw a big Synology in for the VMS. The Synology surveillance station is awesome. You can get so granular with the user permissions. It's fantastic. Hey Eric, good to see ya. Let's see here. Yeah, Nathan uses GrandStream UCMs. And if everybody doesn't know Nathan, Nathan is the founder and owner of NetTool. Glad to have him in here. And we're going to be doing some cool things with NetTool. I'm going to be going on site in May to install a custom security appliance. So I've got these custom security appliances that I build. We put them at the client site, and then I run security tests on the network and things like that, create nice, pretty reports, and then help with remediation, or at least guide people in the right way of remediation. We do some follow-up scans and things like that. So when I deploy that at one of these places, I've already gotten permission to film a video of me using the NetTool in action to do like real life, like identifying of wires outside of the lab. So it's difficult, to get customers to agree to let you film on site, but I've got it all worked out. So And when we do that special live stream in late April, early May, I think Nathan has agreed to provide a net tool for giveaway. So that'll be fantastic. All right, so Release the 01 says, do you have news if Synology will release a new router anytime soon? I do not know if Synology will be releasing another new router. They've already got 3 in the stable, and they work really well, and they're software upgradable. So I don't know what other features you might be looking for, but you'll have to go poke around the Grandstream, or not the Grandstream, the Synology forums. I've got a few posts over there. There's some real elitist guys over there, and they run their forums a little differently. They have to approve every post that you make. And a lot of things with Synology, unless it gets crazy, if it gets crazy, I open a ticket. Support is great, so I don't have to go to the forums a lot over there at all. Avalon, yeah, Nathan, Avalon's another one that somebody else suggested to me, but it seems to me that I looked at their stuff, and so I've got a lot of footage, and I'm still, it's hard to get time sometimes to put together. I'm trying to put together my Axis Axis Experience Center video. So a lot of the cameras that I saw there, I've seen that Avalon has very similar physical footprints. So I'm assuming that Avalon is just another company riding on the coattails of Axis. That's what I have to assume, because that's all I know right now. Brian, I'm not sure what statement I made about the UniFi firmware and the timeouts and all that. Jordan, if you need a router for 300, go with the ER4. It's not going to let you down. Bill Green, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Yeah, the YouTube notification system, we've noticed that it doesn't always work all that great. Ryan asks, any news on hardware upgrades for the USG and USG Pro? I have no idea. There are beta products out there. I'm not allowed to talk about beta products. It is against the beta code of agreement. And so just go check out the beta store and go out and read on the forum. I'm not allowed. There's an embargo on the products in the beta store. I'm not allowed to talk about those on my channel. I could, but then I risk damaging my relationship with Ubiquiti, and that is a risk that I'm not going to take. I did get my hand slapped once, but and so that's kind of where we got some rules in place. We got some rules in place. So Silas asks, what new tech are you looking forward to seeing? Man, there's so much, and IT is so big. So I'm always looking forward to new routers, new switches, new ways of doing things like that, new security stuff. And actually, it might sound weird, but the tech that I'm really like in love with right now is this whole Axis video integration with audio and alerting systems and life safety and access control systems. I'm really getting super deep into the life safety stuff and on the physical side, and then pairing it with network security and networking. So that's kind of where I'm at, but you're going to see some really cool things. Wi-Fi 6 UAP. I don't know where Ubiquiti's at with Wi-Fi 6. I don't know. Barry, I do not use Western Digital Purples. So Nathan says, no, Barry, I use like Western Digital Gold drives, or I use whatever, I can't remember the one that Synology actually suggested. But so Nathan says they have Avalon at 4 casinos, 600 cameras total. So Nathan is obviously happy with the Avalon system. So it was funny because like Nathan says like, we've got 600 cameras at 4 casinos, and I'm like, that's probably for casinos, that's a small number of cameras even at 4 casinos. I mean, walk into a Walmart and look at how many cameras are in a single Walmart. You'll lose count, right? So I would bet that in a single like Super Walmart, there's probably 200 to 300 cameras. Maybe there's not that many, but maybe it seems that way. Just looking at when you're walking up to the building, I mean, how many are on top of the building? 25, 30 cameras, something like that. So let's see here. Hey, Bob. Bob, I love that coffee, man. I bought a coffee grinder just because of the coffee you sent me. I love that. Las Vegas Vocalist asked, do you know how to aggregate cellular modems? Not failover, but actual aggregation to increase bandwidth. I know equipment is needed on both sides of the link. So Las Vegas Vocalist. So I have a customer who has a mobile video game. It's like a trailer. And they have console gaming in there, and they take it around. They set it up for special events. And they use a system through Peplink, and what it does is it uses a VPN to do aggregation of the cellular service, and can actually then combine the throughput of all those. So check out Peplink. Let's see here. Curtis Christensen says, which widget do you use with the Ubiquiti controller to see live network usage? I don't. We use other third-party tools for monitoring networks. CJ says, pfSense is way better than EdgeRouter. Returned my ER4 and got Chelsio SFP module for pfSense. Direct handoff from fiber from ISP. So here's another argument. You know, I've got pfSense here in the lab, and you know, I've got more video ideas and videos that I want to do than time to actually do videos. But pfSense, it's one of those products. It has its place. Let's see here. Yeah, Nathan, but correct me if I'm wrong, but even with the Avalon, there's probably 4 actual cameras inside the 360-degree camera. This thing looks like an upside-down round cake pan, you know, with a thing on it. And there's 4. I mean, it takes up just as much storage and as 4 cameras, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Let's see here. David Morton, everybody say hi to David. David says, hey, buddy, I know not something I've heard you talk about, but what alarm systems and smartphone systems you prefer? It almost seems they should all work together someday. So I got to tell you that I'm a huge fan of SimpliSafe. And I need to do a video on it, but I'm a huge fan of SimpliSafe. Actually, none of my videos, I don't get paid to do any of my videos. The only thing I get is vendors will let me keep the hardware, you know, that I use. But I would love to be sponsored by SimpliSafe because I believe that they have a great product. So, David, take a look at SimpliSafe. Now, depending on the size of your property, SimpliSafe will tell you, based on the amount of windows and doors, they will tell you, and not a lot of companies will tell you this, we are not a good fit for you. Go somewhere else. And so, SimpliSafe won't work for everybody, but check that out, David. 3DXIT Inc. says, when is it necessary to connect fiber to fiber in switches for LAN purpose? I mean, you never have to connect fiber to fiber. Unless you're doing long runs that go past Ethernet, then you're going to want to do fiber, but nobody says you have to do fiber. Are you going to get a speed difference? Probably nothing that's noticeable to you, but it does free up those copper ports, and it allows you to go longer distances, and in some cases have a higher capacity between the switches. So some switches will have that SFP plus, which can do 10 gig between the switches. So that would be another advantage. Do you know how, so Las Vegas Vocalist says, do you know how to set up a system like Peplink but without the cost? Las Vegas Vocalist, I think you're going to have to pay for something like that. You know, but yeah, I don't know. It's not something that I've done in practice, but so Nathan says that the Avalon camera only has one lens in it, so that means that it's like a, what is that, a fisheye by default, and then it uses software to probably stretch it into the panoramic view. Let's see. John, I did the video. Where you at, been? Where you been, buddy? I did the first video in the series of the Synology high availability. So I released that video last Sunday on World Backup Day. So go check that out. Let's see. Bob says, are pfSense and OPNsense still throwing stones at each other? I heard that the lead pfSense programmer works for Ubiquiti now. Yeah, so and I don't know if he's still developing over at pfSense, but yeah, they did, you know, one of the founders and lead programmers from pfSense did go over to Ubiquiti. So, but I don't know where that left pfSense. I heard that there was some stuff. I'm not a regular Reddit person. I have an account, and I think I made like 5 posts maybe in my entire life. Somebody tagged me one time, so I went over there. I created an account so I could verify that it's me, so nobody else took Willie Howe. And but somebody did ping me the other day and said that I guess there was something going down on Reddit between OPNsense and pfSense. I have no idea. I like the OPNsense menuing setup. I think pfSense, their menuing structure, is a nightmare. Alonzo says, I work for a very big communication company and we are looking at deploying the NetTool. Alonzo, meet Nathan. Nathan, meet Alonzo. I think you two can do great things together. So, Alonzo, reach out to me and I can make that connection with you and Nathan. Oh my goodness, it was like 70-some degrees here. And we had the front door open, and the you can hear it, the heating unit just finally kicked on. So get this. So it's 70 here today. Going to be 70-something tomorrow, some rain. And as we're walking out of Sam's Club, the sweet greeter at the door, she goes, and so our local weather guy's name is Chuck Collins. She's like, Chuck Collins says it's going to snow on Thursday. And I've been seeing that we could get like 2 to 6 inches of snow on. I don't believe it. We better not get 2 to 6 inches of snow. Just give us some rain. Give us a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of rain and let's be done with it. The morel mushrooms, if we get some warm nights, should be popping. We got plenty of moisture in the ground. So I need some warm nights so that the morel mushrooms pop. If you've never had morel mushrooms, they're one of the finest things, depending on what you believe in. They're one of the finest things that God created. So I love morel mushrooms, and you put them in an egg wash. You take saltine crackers, run them through the blender, get them nice and fine. You put them in an egg wash, and you fry them, and they're so rich. So you can only eat a few of them, but we need some warm nights. So now I have seen in April where we got the warm nights, the mushrooms came up, and then we got snow. So we were picking mushrooms through the snow, but I don't want that. I just want warm nights finally. So I'm not going to complain about the heat at all this summer. Let's see here. Yeah, Peplink is great. I have a Peplink balancer here that Mike sent me. And so we've got to get that set up. But I've got a space limitation, and so I'm boxing things up, moving things around. I'm going to get the video out on this Axis camera and on the speaker, and we're going to start doing some of that stuff. I got access point videos. I got so many videos, but really in May we're going to hit the ground running, and some of the stuff is just I can't wait. So we'll get there. But all good things come to people who wait, right? Isn't that the saying? So all right, so here's a question. Verbose says most cost-effective video surveillance camera system. So it's going to depend, the most cost-effective depends on a lot of things. Now, if cost is going to drive everything, depending on what your objective is, you're not going to be happy with the system, right? So Silas, I do have a couple things for sale. So if you need some APC PDUs that go in a rack, the big PDUs that have the twist lock type, hit me up. I don't have any use for them. I have 2 of them. They're normally like a $300 item. I'm thinking like $100 plus shipping just to get them out of there. But Silas, I literally use everything in my lab. So we have a rule that if we don't use things after 6 months, that we purge. But I literally use all the technology stuff in my lab. So, no, Synapse, I will not. So when it comes to life safety, if I'm going to pay for a monitoring service. I'm going to pay for a product that I know works. I'm not going to count on some internet experts' hacks and workarounds for a security system. I'm going to buy a packaged security system. You can get a SimpliSafe system for like $249, and then pay like $24 a month for the monitoring service. When it comes to life safety, don't try to do stupid workarounds and listen to some internet experts and things like that. When it comes to life safety for you and your family, put it in the hands of people who understand it, and that's what they get paid to do. I would never build a surveillance. I would never build a home security system from Z-Wave and other things like that. When it comes to the life safety issues with my family, I would never do that. I would never. No, it'd be like building my own smoke detectors. That's stupid. I'm going to put that in the hands of professionals who understand everything about smoke detectors and why smoke detectors do the things that they do. It's a life safety issue. Don't be cheap when it comes to life safety. I deal with a monitoring service that is, and they're horrible, and they were the cheapest going, and luckily it's not for my family. Because I would switch it to something different, but they are absolutely horrible. Let's see here. No, Eduardo, so this is the thing. Like, you're saying that, building my own would be better for 10 plus cameras, but the surveillance station, it checks all the boxes. I get all of the user access control that I need. It supports all my camera brands. I have all the licensing. I have redundancy. I have an app that goes on the smartphone. So for those things, for that, it kind of I can't do it any cheaper building my own, really. So yeah, Bob, good tip for the keto. So the keto thing is difficult for me because I love bread. If you couldn't tell, this is my bread and my pasta chin here. I love carbs, and so it's difficult for me. So we're trying to really strike a balance right now to get back on track. And back in 2015, when I lost a bunch of weight, because one time I was up to 265 pounds, and I was at a company function and I split my pants, and it was that time I was like, okay, we got to do something else, right? So I was able to change my mindset from food being like this comfort thing to food being a fuel for my body, and that worked great. I just have to get back into that, right? So today we bought healthy things. They're going to satiate the hunger and the want to eat, but smart choices for food. And my doctor said, make sure that your plate kind of looks like a rainbow, so that you've got reds and oranges and greens and yellows and all that in there. So we bought stuff that we're gonna eat that tastes good but is also good for you. If you haven't checked out Dave's Killer Bread, the Dave's Killer Bread story is a phenomenal story. So first of all, go check out Dave's Killer Bread. Read the backstory to Dave's Killer Bread. I wholly support Dave's Killer Bread. But the bread is fantastic, and it's one of those seed-loaded breads. So, yeah. And, in fact, my son did really good in school this week, so we had Old Chicago pizza, but I only had 3 slices of pizza, and then, I had an apple. And I fast. I don't eat until noon, so I'm back on the fasting, doing the intermediate fasting, and it's working out. It's working out great. So, yeah, Dave's Killer Bread is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, cooking in tech. Actually, we've got a bunch of footage filmed from our smoker. So you know, we bought a pellet grill. Is one of the best purchases for you know, talk about food and technology. You know, we bought a Rectech Stampede, and you can monitor it. I can actually start it from an app on my phone when I'm not not by it. But we do a lot of pulled pork and a lot of chicken breast and things like that. But yeah, so we've got a lot of footage. And if you've never had a smoked grilled cheese, if you've never had a smoked grilled cheese and you've never had homemade like cheese sticks, so we take fresh cheese curds and we wrap them in a wonton wrapper and then put them out there. If you've never had that, it's fantastic. But so my wife is going to be starting a YouTube channel, a cooking channel, and there's some other things that are going along with that. So you'll just have to watch those details. My wife will probably be able to put ads on her channel because it won't be run under my brand, you know. So you know, it's you know, she'll be able to monetize her stuff, whereas I can't. Barry, glad you were here, Barry. Love you, buddy. Yeah, if you're out in Pennsylvania, Barry's a good guy out there. All right, so Synapse says, Simply Safe hardware, though, to me seems to be like some of the knockoff electronics. You know, but they've got their firmware loaded on it. They've got their warranty loaded on it. They're in control of that hardware. It runs over the Wi-Fi, but it also has the cellular backup. If a burglar smashes the main unit, if they smash the keypad, the system still works, can still be alarmed. So there's a lot of advantages to a company like Simply Safe. Don't be cheap when it comes to life safety. All right, Lewis says, I'm trying to understand why I run a speed test with speedtest.net on my wireless devices and I get about 20 to 30 megabits. But when I run the speed test with Wi-Fi Man, I get 120 and above. So with speedtest.net, there's a lot of controversy out there. So go out to Google and search how ISPs will play games with the speed test programs that are out there. Lewis, try fast.com and see what it says. Yeah, so, yeah. But, you know, we've been live streaming here. I just meant to hop on here for about a half hour. But I am going to go ahead. We're going to look at wrapping the live stream up here. I want to thank all of you for being here. If you need consulting, make sure you go to williehowe.com. You know, we've got the Amazon affiliate links down there. I want to thank all of you for being here. And as always, I will see you in the next video.